Nice to see you. Welcome to my office. My name is Ally Salama, and I'm the CEO and founder of EMPWR, the first mental health platform for young people in the Middle East. And today, I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks on how to build your successful business. In this series, I'm going to walk you through three main components of building your business. First, how to create a successful pitch deck. Second, how to build a financial model. And third, how to build your team. So let's get this party started. Meta, which used to be Facebook, is one of the largest businesses in the world, and it all began with their pitch deck. It slayed. It included a quote from their university's newspaper that said, "Classes are being skipped. Work is ignored. Students are spending hours in front of the computer screen in utter fascination. The Facebook.com craze has swept through campus." This quote excited the investors, made them curious and fascinated. From then on, the whole pitch deck won, from its idea, its content, to its execution. So, what is a pitch deck, and why is it so important? A pitch deck is a document or presentation where you can tell your story and ideas to a specific investor to hopefully get them interested and invest in your business. And the trick is to do that in 10 to 15 slides. In reality, this is the most important thing. It's your chance to validate yourself and to prove your potential business is worth it. There are three kinds of validations you should require from your pitch deck proposal: personal validation, investment validation, and market validation. Personal validation is mainly trying to impress the potential investors with your charisma and confidence to make them trust you more. Investment validation. You haven't raised institutional money from venture capital, so nobody has really vetted the company yet. And market validation is having a strong pitch to potentially build a strong market. Did you know that on average, only less than 1% of companies screened by investors receive capital? That is a scary statistic indeed, but it's not meant to discourage you. Stick with me to the end to be part of that 1%. Think of your pitch deck as a maze to get from one place to the other. Your objective is to get the investor through the maze so you can move to the consideration phase. Your first meeting is the first step in a 3-step process. You actually have to get through the investor, the investment team, and the investment committee. Now, there are 2 ways to approach your pitch deck. First, visual. This means less content, but more images. This usually works best when you're presenting your deck in person. 2 things are crucial here: your presentation skills and your storytelling skills. However, this is not usually recommended at an early stage. So let's see the second approach. Content. This type of approach focuses on telling a story in a structured approach. What is important here is that the deck should speak for itself, whether you're present or not. Before actually starting with the content of your pitch deck, it's important to check off the following from your list first. Know your audience. Customers always come first, and in this case, your customer is your investor. Take Amazon, for example. It was built with the mission to be the most customer-centric company in the world, and look at where they are now. Second, know your investor. At the end of the day, you aim to build a relationship here, and you can't succeed if you don't know each other. So research about their background, their values, and interests. Use our AD SME Hub community section to check some of the potential investors. The link is in the description. Third, do your research. You can be passionate about your business, but not necessarily well informed, and the listeners will know the difference. So bring in data to validate your points as much as possible, and be prepared for any questions that might arise. Research points as the company's history, government statistics, white papers, and so on. Fourth, build your skeleton. There's a list of steps you can take to build a strong skeleton. Create the different topics and sections of your pitch deck. Decide on the sequence of topics. Plan your time ahead. Usually, those meetings are an hour long. 5 minutes intro, 30 minutes presenting, and 25 minutes Q&A. This time is very precious, so use it wisely. And please, don't be late. Now, I'm going to show you how to actually begin forming your pitch deck and what it should include. Title slide. This should have your logo and brand name highly visible. Show your value proposition through a slogan. Also, describe the purpose of the deck and highlight its confidentiality. Make sure to include the product imagery and, of course, a link to the product. Executive summary. This part is more like teasing the reader without giving them too much. Here, you should say what you do, where you're at, and what your ambition is. The team. This is to show your audience you have your tribe. Make sure to explain clearly who each and everyone is, their role, a short bio. A professional picture won't hurt either. Problem. This slide tells us the importance of having a product like yours. When thinking about this, see whether your problem is sizable so you can show a gap in the market and how you are willing to fix it. But with every problem comes a solution. Make sure to keep this very simple and straight to the point. Test this out with random people you know. If they find it clear to understand, then it's good to go. Airbnb's pitch deck started with book rooms with locals rather than hotels. This leaves the listeners curious. What does this mean? And how? The pitch continues to state, save money, make money, share culture. By the third slide, the listeners can completely understand what the story is. You need to address the 3 different market models. First is the TAM, the total addressable market. Second is the SAM, the serviceable addressable market. And the third is the SOM, the serviceable obtainable market. Focus on the thought process rather than the number. What is the segment you're going after? For example, what is the location, industry, persona? Why have you chosen this segment? You need to show that you chose the easier segment to reach and convert. What is the current behavior? Do they pay for an inferior solution? After highlighting the market segment you're going after, it is important to show the growth potential. And now, the business model slide. Okay, focus with me here because this slide is very, very important. You first need to show your revenue model. The revenue model is anchored by key metrics such as the gross merchandise value, which is your actual revenue, transaction frequency, average transaction value, and retention rate, competition, and USP. Your idea might be good, great even, but what makes it better than other great ideas? Don't be afraid of talking about your competitors. Investors want to see how you're able to go after the big fish. It is also impossible that you don't have any competitors out there. So do your research and find them. They might be hiding away, but they're still there. The best way to design the slide is through a comparative table. You will have your competitor and you on the x-axis and the key offerings and features on the y-axis. Go to market. You need to show a rollout plan here, showing what are the key initiatives that you will undertake to help you unlock the most value. This could be in the form of marketing, team hiring, or product features. Last but not least, your investment proposition. This section might require a couple of slides, but you need to make sure you cover the basics. 1. How much are you looking to raise? 2. What is the structure of the deal? Is there equity? Are there convertible notes? 3. What's the proposed pre-money valuation? 4. Your target runway, meaning how long the money will last for your business. 5. The milestones you commit to achieving within this given runway, the revenue, number of customers, and so on. 6. The use of funds. This can be a pie chart highlighting how much is invested in marketing, people, and technology. So we've addressed how to build your pitch deck and what each slide should include. You are now ready for your final draft. In this stage, try to rehearse your presentation as much as possible. We're now going to dig deeper with Rawad Khalife, who has more than 10 years of experience in product and venture capital. Rawad is going to answer some of our most burning questions on pitch decks. Let's go. Hi Rawad, how are you? It's a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you, Ali.
I don't want to take much of your time, so let's jump right into it. As a VC, how many pitch decks do you review per year or month?
Typically, a VC would look at thousands of pitch decks on a yearly basis.
Wow.
If you were to look at VC funds, most of them would invest maybe in a couple of deals on a yearly basis, maybe like a dozen. Depends really on the stage of the fund and how big it is. So that's a very tiny percentage of companies that eventually get funded out of the pool of pitch decks that they receive.
Now, our next question is, what is the decision-making process you would undertake?
There's many factors that come into play when evaluating a deal. Like there's some general frameworks that VCs would look at. For example, the 3T, like team, traction, TAM, and so how good the team is, how strong they are, do they have some sort of early traction, is it promising, and how big the market is for the venture that they're building.
And when you receive a pitch deck, what do you mostly look out for and why?
Just keep in mind that the pitch deck is the first entry point into the VCs. They'd like to see a very compelling story, like somewhere where the founder comes in and says, look, we've identified this huge problem. We thought about it in this way. That's our value proposition. That's our great team who's going to come and build it.
And perhaps, what are some of the best practices that you would advise founders to follow?
Always practice, pitch deck delivery. Like try it out with friends. Try to get feedback. Should you move things around or should you add new sections or even remove ones? This is very important. Also, one important thing I usually recommend founders is keep multiple versions of the pitch deck available. So have a short version, and if they ask for more details, you can just send the longer version.
And do you think the focus of the pitch deck changes depending on the stage of the company? If so, how?
Like early on, investors would be, focusing more on the problem, on, how strong the team is, perhaps like more on the mission and the direction. Whereas as the venture launched and now there's like months and years of progress, investors will be focusing more on realized KPIs, like how does growth compare to maybe other ventures in the same sector. They'll be also looking more at retention and cohorts, and all of these will become more important factors as the venture matures.
And perhaps what are the elements of a pitch deck that gets you interested or turned off?
For example, you could sometimes see startups focusing a lot on their list of advisors. Early stage startup, the focus should be more on the core team, not on list advisors that may or may not be really involved with the company. To just keep it very simple, very basic projections, as we all know that multiple variables will change at that point. And when it comes to things that excite investors and turn on investors, I think seeing like that the company has some sort of unfair advantage, seeing that they have like an edge over their competitors, over other players in the sectors, that would really, really excite investors. And that could come in multiple forms. It could be like a technology advantage, could be like some sort of regulatory thing that they've done.
Thank you, Rawad, so much for being with us here today and for feeding our curiosity.
It was great being here. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
And there you go, a ready-to-go pitch deck for your new business. Stay tuned to learn how to build a financial model in our next episode. You do not want to miss it.